Welcome, everyone, to the Postgame Podcast. Thank you for watching us. We are here today with Luke Jackson of the Atlanta Braves. Luke, thanks for joining us today.
What's up?
Today, we're going to be interviewing him for the first part of the show, and then after that, just going to do our normal thing, talking about current events in the sports world. And we're going to have a nice little number one draft, fantasy draft at the end with the best and worst in the NBA. So you're going to have to stick around for that. But once again, thanks for joining us, and make sure to follow us on everything. Links will be in the description. We have a Patreon now, too, so make sure you donate if you feel like you want to. So we'll go ahead and get started. Luke, how's life been?
You know, all quarantined up here, but still kicking. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's basically pretty much anything. So I saw you've been fishing on social media. Is that something you've been doing a lot?
Yeah, my dad's a big fisher, so I'm actually living at home right now with him. And anytime we get a chance to get out, we kind of just take the brothers out and we go for it.
That sounds fun.
Pretty sick cave you got there, it looks like.
What'd you say?
Looks like a pretty sick man cave you got there.
Yeah, it's actually my dad's. To
Maybe?
be honest, is where I actually had the pleasure of growing up my last years of high school in here. But as you can see, this is my setup right here. Coffee cups still here from the morning, watching streams, playing League of Legends, you know. But yeah, there's pretty much everything in the world in here.
That's awesome. I'd kill for something like that.
Yeah, he's this is like his dream place. So I'm living in here right now. Can't complain.
All right, so I was going to start off going from high school on, talk a little bit about your career. Did a little research before you came on, and I saw that you played some other sports other than baseball in high school. That's true, right?
Yep. Football and soccer.
So what made you get into baseball?
My older brother played, and I had a pretty good arm. But outside of that, I think I liked soccer and football more in high school until about my senior year.
Interesting. What position did you play in soccer and football?
Football, I was kicker and quarterback. And soccer, I played midfield and striker. So I kind of played around.
Kind of played it all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Florida, right?
Yes, sir. Grew up in South Florida.
So what were your sports teams like you were fans of as a kid?
Marlins, baby. Florida Marlins.
Marlins.
The original. Not the Miami Marlins, some Florida Marlins.
Yeah, I wasn't alive back whenever they were really, really good. But I was alive, but I was really young. But that was when they had like Gary Sheffield and those guys, right?
Yeah, Dontrell Willis and all those good pitchers back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, what is it? 97 and 03, the 6-year window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty good, man. I'm a Dolphins fan, unfortunately, as well. But
oh wow,
that kind of hurts my soul.
You'll probably hate me a little bit knowing I'm a Patriots fan, but I'll let it slide.
We beat the Patriots every year. I ain't got a problem with that.
That is true.
Hey, what do you think
If you're gonna bet on something, bet the Dolphins beating the Patriots. Almost a sure lock.
Evan, you said something?
What do you think about Tua?
I was happy. I'm always happy for, we go 500 pretty much every year. We tease ourselves that we can make playoffs, so we don't. But it's exciting in the draft when you get, an actual playmaker or something like that.
Absolutely. So I saw that you tried to model your pitching style after Tim Lincecum in high school. So if you could talk a little bit about that, or maybe anyone else that you modeled your pitching off of.
Yeah, kind of just he was little, like shorter. I was shorter kind of my younger years. And then I had long hair and he had long hair. So it was kind of like there. And at the time, he was back-to-back Cy Young winner. So he was the best to do it. So I'm not really – I had some kind of pitching instructions from, coaches here and there. But, high school pitching, they're coaching everyone. They're coaching your infield. I actually had 11 guys on my senior year of my baseball team, and I was the only senior. So we weren't like a powerhouse school of baseball. We were just kind of small at the time and kind of just watch YouTube videos and watch TV and just, picked up things. I kind of jumped off the mound like him too. It was super long arm, and I was like, well, I was trying to figure out how to get the ball from point A to point B as hard as I possibly could, and his mechanics were about the only way they could do it.
Makes sense. That's awesome. I always grew up watching Tim Lincecum and, like, just him on the Giants. Like, that was just a team that, in my opinion, was kind of forgotten. Like, you know, they were a powerhouse in that little era. They won the championships, but they're kind of forgotten, to me at least.
I agree.
Yep. So, fast forwarding to the MLB, got drafted by the Rangers, and then it wasn't shortly after you got traded to the Braves, right?
I played 6 years. 6 years with the Rangers, so quite a while. Made it up to the big leagues with them, but kind of here and there. Was very iffy. Was a starter most of my minor league career, and just one of those things where – wouldn't say failed starter, but I had more success trying to figure out how to get people out into the bullpen. For
sure. So, what about the Braves? What do you like about the Braves? Because obviously here I'm the only Braves fan. Matt here is a Reds fan, and the other two don't really watch baseball as much as we do. And I'm
a Braves fan.
Yeah. And my friends that would probably kill me if I didn't mention it, they're Cardinals fans, and that's all I'm going to say there. But
are you from Atlanta?
No, we're actually all from Indiana.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I just grew up
Braves. Why a Patriots? Why a Braves?
Well, Patriots. I just kind of grew up being a Boston sports fan. I was a Celtics fan as a kid, Patriots fan as a kid, Bruins here and there. But my entire family's really Braves fans, so I just kind of adopted that and grew up watching Chipper and Andrew and all those guys. So it's always been fun to watch. But, yeah, my friends would kill me if I didn't mention the Cardinals a little bit because they have not let it go since the past postseason. But, yeah, so what about the Braves do you like the most?
Oh, top to bottom, team, front office, they're all great guys. And, I mean, young, winning atmosphere, you can't not like it, you know. It's pretty chill. Ran by some good people, some good coaches. Got to love that.
Always good.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun because I started getting really hardcore into the Braves over the past few years. So it was fun to watch your improvement. And there were times last year which, I mean, I assume you know this, maybe not, that you were in the top 10 of the Cy Young running at some points. Like I
don't know if that was a joke or if that was serious, but
no, it was serious. You were at the bottom, like 8, 9, 10 for a little while. I mean, you really were, and it was cool because all the Braves fans in my Facebook groups would always post it, so I was always in the loop of that. But something I just recently saw, there was a Team USA like probable roster, and I saw your name on it. So is that anything you've been thinking about?
I don't know if that was actually something, and I had the okay to do it. I would absolutely love to play in the Olympics. I think that would be the coolest experience ever. I don't know how the team's chosen or who gets picked or what the whole credentials are. I'm assuming they would take, the big name closers. So I don't know if I'd be on it. I don't know why my name was on that list. I would absolutely love to be on that. But, I mean, that's a dream come true to play for your country and have to represent for a gold medal would be probably the coolest thing. I think I'd sleep with it every night.
For sure. So we can go to next season now. There's been options kind of came up about the division idea where there's going to be 3 divisions, West, Central, and East. I don't know how much you know about that.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I keep hearing like crazy things, and you hear people saying that baseball's coming back July and June 10th is like spring training, and that the divisions are Texas, Arizona, Florida. I don't know. Like I like text people kind of who are higher up and run that, and they just say, "Listen, that's all speculation." And does it sound like a plan that would work? Yeah. I mean, is there a lot of loopholes and still things? Are we going to be traveling? Is New York allowed to be open? Are they going to have to play somewhere else? Canada's got to be, Toronto's got to be something. I don't know if they're allowed to play in Toronto. And all these, like, weird things they got to figure out. So, but the fact that we got put in the Central Division is kind of strange. I thought we'd be East Coast, being an East Coast team, which is a little bizarre. would I like to face? I don't even know if we're going to be like busing or how it's going to work. Are they going to let us fly? We got kind of shafted if it's we're the Central Division. We got a bus. We're going to be
Going to Minnesota.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, what is this? But I don't know. I think players will play if you give us an opportunity. I don't know we already are buckled in for some crazy scenario of some crazy season of, I don't know. We just got to expect something very strange and hope that somehow it works out. I really don't know. Like, we've been talking so much about just trying to get out there, but the CDC and MLB and Player Association all have to agree on something before anything can actually happen.
So do you think there's a chance there'll be no fans in attendance whenever the games resume?
I don't think any sport will have fans, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think NFL will have fans all season. Until there's a vaccine, I don't think it's going to be like possible to have 20,000 people at a stadium,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there might be. I mean, once testing and regulation, and maybe they could test at the gate or something crazy, like some machine they'll have. I don't know. But I think until there is some sort of like vaccine of some sort, I don't know if there will be fans in the sports arenas.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be crazy. Have you watched any of the KBO on ESPN, the Korean baseball?
I actually have a couple of buddies who play over there. Yeah.
Really?
A couple of buddies who came to minor leagues play over there. Yeah. So Jared Hoyne is one of them. Plays for he's not for Busan. Who's he play for? Maybe Busan. But yeah, a couple guys. I got a couple buddies playing Japan that they're getting ready to start spring training. So yeah, you play over. I think it's going on my 11th professional season. Play long enough, you'll see some guys everywhere.
For sure. I've been watching it a lot. It's kind of hard to stay up that late, but it's nice to watch live sports. And even though it was really weird to watch with no fans in attendance. But other than that, it's nice to at least have something on there other than replays all the time. So who knows?
Did you see that Baltimore Orioles game back in the day with the protests where they play with no fans? It was strange.
Oh yeah, that was strange. The announcers were talking like they were at the Masters.
Oh, yeah. Guys were throwing balls in the stands like they were fans.
Well, okay. So on that note, I think Matt here wants to ask you a little bit about eSports.
Yeah. So my name is Matt. Nice to meet you, Luke.
Nice to meet you, man.
So I'm pretty big into eSports myself. I know Grant is as well. But for those of you listening who don't know, Luke here started an esports organization back in 2018 called Raised by Kings. Him and his brother started this, and I just have a few questions for you about it. So what made you and your brother be like, hey, let's start this esports organization?
It was a hobby of ours. Yeah, okay, there you go. It was a hobby. We love watching like competitive esports. We're all growing up a gamer. My dad used to beat me in Mortal Kombat when I was 10 years old for like hours. And I was like, just kind of, this is it. And as you can see, my little brother's over here. He's playing Valorant right now, or Valorant, however you guys want to say it. Kind of enjoying that. But awesome. I don't know. We love watching, like, I've watched Gears of War to CSGO to World of Warcraft to any type of event online and just seeing the best players in the world. And we're like, this is like a hobby. We'd like get up at nights and watch the League of Legends Worlds, and we'd watch everything. Yeah. We're like, dude, this would be the coolest thing in the world to own. And then we were sitting there one day and we're like, well, how hard would it be to start a team? And then we kind of did some research, asked around. And then we realized like the people who have major serious teams are owned by like, Stephen Kerr and these like serious owners of NBA teams, and these Dan Gilbert owns teams and $100 million are poured in. We're like, oh wow, okay. So then we kind of just started as a hobby. We're like, okay, we'll just sign some players as like an agent and see if they'll just compete under a name. And then once we decided that, we're like, okay, that's kind of a team. So we're like, okay, we'll just make a team out of just signing kids. We started in Fortnite because we love watching just Fortnite esports, just like the events and the World Cup. And like maybe we can get some guys in the World Cup. And we enjoyed playing the tournaments. Me and my brother were playing the tournaments ourselves. We never win, but we just like enjoyed playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you play like video games, you can kind of see how good kids are, like the skill gap, and how like talented gamers are. Truthfully, how much of it is as an athlete, an esports athlete. But Yeah, it was just kind of a passion for us. We really enjoyed it. We tried to get in before it's like going to be impossible. We think it will be the future. Like I think esports will be all over ESPN, and tournaments will be worldwide, and it'll be countries versus countries. They'll be in the Olympics. I got a feeling like all this stuff. So
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It was like just a passion that turned into, it was a hobby that turned into a passion that turned into a kind of a, hopefully one day monetize it. Kind of right now it's still a hobby, and we're kind of a coffee shop name, but we enjoy doing it and we enjoy playing games.
That's awesome. Now I know you stream on Twitch a lot. How do you balance like streaming on Twitch, owning this organization, and obviously being an MLB pitcher?
In season, I don't do anything really. I play like late night video games after. I mean, we get home at like 11:30, 12, and I'll probably play video games in the morning just because you have so much adrenaline after you get home. And I'll just play. It's kind of like my decompressing. I just kind of sit there and I'll check out, talk to my brothers, play some. I play League of Legends a lot. Play some League of Legends, then go to bed. And it's kind of like where I just check out mentally. And I think a lot of, just sports in general. Yeah, it's an awesome job and love doing it, but it's so based on performance, and so it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of everything kind of builds up in it. So we gotta have something to kind of check out mentally, and it's video games has always been my like grasp or my go-to, so
for sure.
Yep, man, that's kind of where it's been. And I don't stream at all in season. I just started streaming, and it was kind of not forced on me, but I was asked by MLB to stream MLB The Show Players League, and I enjoyed doing it and had a blast doing it and talking to the fans. So I was like, I'll keep it going. But now I'm going to figure out how to see if people like – I'm not very good. I'm a League of Legends pretty much average player, and I play Valorant every now and again, and Sea of Thieves and dumb games that hopefully I can like entertain some fans with.
Yeah, for sure. Now I got one more question. It's a big one, and I want your opinion on this. I know everybody's voiced their opinion on this. Do you think esports as itself is a sport?
Is a sport? Yes. Like, is it? What defines sport? You know what I mean? You know, cheerleading is a sport. All these things are sports. Yeah, like some are different than others, and but is it competitive? Does it take hours of practice to be better than someone? Yes. I don't know where the definition of sport line crosses. As a pitcher, you could be, 5'5", 250 pounds, and be a good athlete, and you can also be 6'7", absolutely jacked, and be a tight end in the NFL.
Right.
Baseball, you can be, out of shape and pitch, and there's a bunch of things. So I don't know if it's like athleticism or I don't know. Do you guys think it's a sport? This is kind of a one-sided question here.
Me, myself, I do think it should be considered. But I know a lot of people that think it shouldn't.
I agree. I'm the same boat.
Yeah. But I've had a lot of heated discussions with people, and then at the end of them, I'm just like, why can't it just be like its own thing? Like it's an e-sport. Like it doesn't have to be defined as a certain thing.
That's what I was kind of saying. Like people are like e-sport athletes. They're, not your normal athlete. They're guys virtually who are put 12 hours in a day grinding scrims and practicing and trying to be better than everyone else. And is it a little more unhealthy? Yeah, but so is, throwing a baseball, you can blow your shoulder out. Is that unhealthy? I guess, yeah, So there's like give and takes to anything. And I guess, yeah, esports a good way to categorize it. Just put it as its own little category.
Yeah, for sure.
End of the day, if you enjoy, you enjoy. It doesn't matter what it's considered, right?
Exactly. Nice house, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Kingsbury's backyard.
So we have some questions from Facebook. Like I said, I'm a member of a bunch of Braves fan groups on Facebook, and I just said, we're gonna have Luke Jackson on, ask some questions, and for some reason there was an overwhelming surplus of questions about your hair. So is it gonna be cut anytime soon?
I don't know. I've never had a beard in my life, and I have probably the nastiest quarantine beard going right now that I refuse to shave until they announce baseball back. But I don't know. I cut it last spring training. I cut it all off. This spring training, I had it cut pretty short, and I haven't cut it since. So I can't get a haircut either right now, and I do not trust anyone close to me to cut my hair. So
Same.
yeah, I had my sister shave my left eyebrow off when I was in like ninth grade, and that kind of ruined that. And now I'm just going like the Castaway look.
Nice.
Just riding that into the wind.
For sure. So, Evan, Tyler, you guys have questions, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to be on here with us.
Always.
I just want to know, like, was there any significant changes, like, to your life adjusting to being, like, a professional athlete?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, when you're in high school, I went from playing, I was in high school to drafted to writing pro ball, and that takes, 9 months of your life, 10 months of your life of just kind of on your own. You got to grow up pretty quick when you go from living at home, eating cereal every morning and just kicking. Yeah, trying not to, like, stay up till 5 a.m. playing, Call of Duty or something. So that was strange. And yeah, I was terrible. I wasn't very good in the minor leagues early on. It took me a little while to kind of adapt and get used to it. But there's always, I think, going to be curves, kind of professional athletic curves to, especially being young, 18. There's some guys who figure like Mike Trout was in the big leagues at 19 and dominating. Took me like 4 years of absolutely sucking to be decent, get called up, suck in the major leagues, get sent down, get called up, suck, get traded, suck, released 5 times in 1 year. You know what I mean? And then kind of find a niche and kind of put it all out there and have some success here and there. But, I mean, a lot of it is just there's going to be ups and downs, and you just kind of got to keep trucking. Things are going to suck sometimes. Things are going to be good sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah, I had another question here from Facebook. Obviously, the season, it can be, it's long, it's a grind, it takes a toll on your body. What do you look forward to and enjoyments about the off season?
What do I look forward to in enjoyments in the off season?
Yeah.
So there's always this point of the off season where like you really want baseball to start back up, and there's like this point in this season where you're like, please, where is the off season? My body hurts. I can't throw another inning, and I've been doing this every day, and all I do is travel. But then there's like the fine line of like, I love winning games. Competitiveness is where it's at. I can't wait to get back on the mound. There's like crazy like ups and downs of, about midway point getting ready for the All-Star break. You're like, how many more months are left? There's no way this is only game 80. And then you hit All-Star break and you're so pumped, like get ready. You have 4 days off and you're like, I can't wait for this to get back in the field. And then in the off season, the first month is like, first 2 weeks is like, I don't get off the couch or play video games or watch movies for 2 solid weeks. And then right after that, I'm like, all right, when's the season starting? So there's this like, and I've gotten to see my family. I live with my brothers and play video games and keep in touch. It's always good to see them. But I mean, there's always a point where right when I get back home, I relax enough and I really want that season to start again. So I think I'm just kind of living in it, and I guess while I'm able to play baseball, it's kind of all I want to do.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
I had an interesting question that I saw, and something I've always kind of thought about too. So as a relief pitcher, like starters obviously know like they're on a schedule, but as a relief pitcher, like there's, sometimes you'll go back-to-back games. So like, how does that work? Is it just kind of dictated by game, or are there games where they just say like, hey, you're not pitching today? Like, how's that work?
Rarely ever will they come up to tell you you're not pitching today, but if I go like 3 in a row or 4 to 5 or something like that, they'll say pretty much you're not pitching today, but there's a chance. You go extras, you go into the 13th inning, and you're the last guy there. You're going in that game. So you can never check out, but there are days when you're pretty much like, okay, there's about a 99% chance I don't throw, or Charlie's going to pitch before me. Like there's like a 50-50 on that one if like you've used every pitcher. But you're hot every day. There's situations you're going to pitch in, and then there's days where like you're just burnt and you'll ask for a day, and they'll be like, all right, yeah, we'll give you a day, but if we need you. Can you give it to us? And like everyone's always going to be like, yeah, I'm a competitor. I can help you out.
For sure. That bullpen right now widely considered one of the best bullpens in the MLB. So I'm excited to see that with Will Smith being added. You still have Melanson, Green, yourself, obviously. Do you think that the Braves should be considered one of the best bullpens in the league?
Dude, I mean, if you look at that, Chris Martin, Mark Melanson, Will Smith, Shane Green, just some absolute studs back down there. I mean, we got to be up there. I mean, I don't think any team had four guys who were closing, premier closers in the major leagues on the same roster.
True.
Yeah, I had a question. This is one I wrote up myself. Athletes at any level, they kind of have sort of like a way to get pumped up, energized, like a pregame routine. I was wondering if you could shed some light on ways you get pumped up, energized in your pregame routine.
I used to kind of have like a serious routine when I was a starter, but as a reliever, I've realized like I think I get too amped up, so I kind of like to go the other way. Mm-hmm. I like to like chill out, relax. Like I do all my work and stuff before the game starts, and then about the third inning, I'll get up, move around, and kind of stretch. And then outside of that, I just try to check out. I watch the game, like hanging out, joke around, just act like, whatever, here we go. And then it's time to lock in. If I start like thinking about it, you'll get amped up and you'll get like kind of overhype yourself or psych yourself out and start launching balls into the net.
You ever interact with fans like mid-game, like if they're just like heckling you or something like that?
There are certain fields where like Philly, they're right on top of you, or San Francisco, they're right on like they're literally right next to you. Uh-huh. Every now and again we'll say something or they'll chirp. Like 99% of the time you're kind of draining them out just because they're just saying absurd things. But every now and again you'll get someone who's funny and witty and put something good together and you'll laugh about it.
Yeah, like I know Grant and I, we've been to our local minor league team here is the Indianapolis Indians, and every time we get a front row spot, we're definitely on the absurd side of. Yeah.
You come up with something clever, you're gonna. Most of the time, someone will like acknowledge it or laugh about it or say, "All right, that was legit."
Hey, we tried to get Tim Tebow to laugh at us. It didn't work well, but we're hoping for next time.
I used to have the ball up here, but Ryan O'Rourke, he's a minor league pitcher for the Mets. We yelled Ryan repeatedly the entire game, and he would always look over at us. Never got into the game, and somehow I got a ball signed from him. But, it's cool to know that some pitchers like that, enjoy that rather than just dread it some games.
Agreed. Yeah, it's like you hear it so much, and there's so many people, and 99% of the time it's like little kids just yelling for a ball, and we don't have enough balls in the world to give out to all the kids. And when we travel on a road trip especially, they only give us a set number of balls. So like normally the last game of the road trip, we kind of just toss them all out. But like game one, it's kind of like if we give out one here, we might not have a ball for the last game of the New York Mets series, so we really can't. So it's like this. People think we're like lying to them. Like, listen, we cannot give you a ball. Like, it's physically impossible. We will not have any to throw with. Whereas there's somebody who's like funny and like it comes down and asks for something and like, says something good, we'll like give you a ball. There's a guy who in Philly always brings this like full on French fries or whatever, like the special is the day at the Philly ballpark. He'll bring it down and we'll give him a ball for it every time. So
that's awesome.
Loaded nacho cheese chips and stuff in the bullpen for baseball.
Do those balls apply to BP as well? Because I've never been a SunTrust
BP
or
is
Truist.
Completely different.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Different. I'll throw one time in a round. I think I threw out like 75 BP balls, but they got on me about that. But you throw out like 10, 15, nobody will say anything.
That makes more sense. Yeah, because I was at Turner. I've never been to Truist, but at Turner, I was there, one of the first people in the park, and an outfielder would not throw a ball up to save anyone. Like, everyone's yelling at him. No one would throw one up. So I was wondering if that was like maybe, there's a set number of balls for the game, but like yeah.
BP, you can throw as many as you want.
Interesting. Last question I have. I was wondering if you had any friendships off the field with any of the Braves players and who that would be and how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's like cliques in high school, but we're a bullpen. We're always together. So it's like No, I don't not hang out with position players, but you mainly hanging out with like me and AJ Minner and Darren O'Day, and I mean we all go golfing and stuff like that. And Jesse Biddle before he's gone traded, and Dan Winkler and all those guys. A lot of guys you kind of spend a lot of time with. Tuki Toussaint actually lives right down the road from me, and we kind of stay pretty tight. But to be honest, there's not a lot of time in season to hang out. We have like team dinners on days we're off, which is like once a month maybe, but like we get in at absurd hours from road trips. Normally you're going to sleep, you're waking up and getting in a bus to the ballpark. So it's like, unless you live together during the season, which not a lot of people do, you're hanging out with each other at the field all day.
I lied. One more question.
Give it to me.
How many MVPs will Acuña win in his career?
Oof. Ooh. So he's what, like 16 years old now?
Seems like it.
20 years. He's gotta at least win. I think I'd put the over under 5.
Man.
I don't know how many players have won 5 MVPs. How many has Mike Trout won?
I think he's won 4.
He's like a runner-up every year, and so he's won 4, and he's runner-up the other 11 years he's been in the big league. So I'll put the over/under at 4 then.
Okay,
which is gonna be a Hall of Fame career.
Hall of Fame career. I like that.
Yeah, he's a freak.
He definitely is.
Oh, Ozzy's a freak too. People don't. I think Ozzy kind of gets slept on a little bit. Ozzy's an absolute freak too.
I love Ozzy, and can't forget about Freddie either.
I mean, Freddie's just that's Capitan. That guy just does it day in and day out.
And that reminds me, there was one other question I saw on Facebook I forgot to ask you. Somebody was wondering. I have not ever learned how to say his last name, but Shea, whatever his last name is, he's in the minor leagues for the Braves. The catcher, right? How do you say his last name? You don't know who I'm talking about?
Oh, like Langielers?
Langielers or something?
Langielers. Yeah, I know who he is.
Someone was asking if you've ever pitched to him and what potential you think he has.
I've never. I think I've thrown a bullpen to him, maybe. And it's supposed to be a stud. He went to Vanderbilt, right?
He went to Vanderbilt.
He is. So I stayed in Northport after I'm pretty sure this was him. I hope this story coincides. But I stayed in Northport after spring training was canceled for a little bit longer. We didn't know anything if it was going to reopen or something like that. And Kyle Wright lived out there, and we would play golf every day. And he was roommates with Shea. That was his personal catcher. And from Wright's words of throwing him in college and us throwing a lot of catcher, they suppose he's going to be a stud. So, you never know. It takes he can take a shot on anyone and hope for the best, but supposedly he's got some good tools in there.
Awesome. Well, Luke, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate you coming
Always,
on.
Always, guys.
And you heard it here first. Acuña, 5 MVPs. And also can't forget Luke Jackson, Team USA. It's happening. You heard it here too.
That would be the greatest thing ever. Thank you guys for it.
Thanks a lot for joining us, man. We appreciated it.
Yeah, man.
Always have a great rest of your show.
You too.
Appreciate it.
You too. Have a good stream.
Nice.
All right.
What a guy.
He's an awesome guy,
He's
man.
an awesome dude.
Well, all right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Earl Thomas, man, what do we think about him?
It's a tough spot.
It's a bad situation all around.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Earl Thomas was caught yesterday cheating on his wife, and the way his wife found him was a little crazy. She checked her Snapchat map and saw that Earl Thomas was wherever he was at. And him and his brother were having relations with this girl that he was cheating on her with. And now there's some domestic abuse claims because apparently she brought out a gun. So what's everyone think? Like, what do you think's going to happen here?
Well, obviously, in any situation, you can't pull a gun to someone's head. So, I would say, he's going to get in trouble with her, but she's definitely getting in trouble with authorities. So, like I said, it's just a bad situation all around. It does cause some excitement, though, during this quarantine.
True.
He hadn't been the same ever since he got absolutely bodied into the ground during the playoffs.
Oh, my gosh.
My favorite Earl Thomas moments whenever he flipped off Pete Carroll getting stretchered off the field.
Love it.
But, yeah, that was definitely a huge story I just wanted to bring up briefly. So, aside from that in the NFL, some of the minor news that we slightly touched on last week, Andy Dalton did not go anywhere. We were wondering. We thought he was going to go. The Cowboys.
I thought the Cowboys would have been one of my last options, honestly. But, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was tough to see. Like, people were saying, oh, yeah, he's got a Texas background. Okay, so.
Well, I mean, hey, good for the Cowboys. I mean, they got one of, if not the best backup in football. I mean, the guy has 8-9 years of experience in the league, winning record as a quarterback. So, I mean, this leads me to this question for you guys. Like, what does this mean for Dak Prescott? Like, are the Cowboys, like, trying to send him a message? Or, like, what do you guys make of the signing?
I could see that definitely as a sign, especially, this year, he was wanting to potentially sign a bigger contract. And he had some big performances, arguably against some lesser teams. And then when the spotlight was on, he kind of fumbled a little bit. So I definitely think it could be – I think you're right, Tyler. It could be a little oppressor to get him motivated and working to actually perform to a high level before they're ready to, make a big-time commitment for him. I definitely think that makes sense.
Because, right now, Dak is the unquestioned starter. I'm not questioning that. Dak's going to be the starter. But he's not participating in the virtual offseason program, not the offseason program where he could go out and get hurt and cost himself millions of dollars. The virtual where you get on Zoom like we are right now, to communicate with his coaches and his teammates. He refuses to even do that because he thinks he's worth $40 million a year for whatever reason. I don't know if this signing was, just simply the Cowboys going after the best free agent quarterback available, or if it's just them trying to send a message to Dak Prescott. It's kind of interesting.
The way I looked at it was, he's demanding all this money. No one really considers him a top 5 quarterback. If you didn't watch last week's episode, none of us did. Wait, what?
So go back and watch our episodes, though.
Yeah, go back and watch it. But one thing I've been saying about the Cowboys is that they have a really good receiving core now. And Dak Prescott's obviously going to make that a good receiving core, but Andy Dalton's going to do a good job with it too. You look at Andy Dalton, he's had decent targets his entire career. A.J. Green, but other than A.J. Green, like, who else? Now he's got a good offensive core around him. Not saying he's going to come in and start, but if Dak were to ever struggle and Andy Dalton comes in and presses the Cowboys, that's probably Dak's, bye. You never know.
Yeah, when you're trying to build an NFL team and you have to pay 53 guys on your every week roster, plus guys on the practice squad, it's hard to pay a guy the money that Dak Prescott is demanding.
Right.
Only a handful of players are going to earn that money, like a guy like Russell Wilson, a guy like Patrick Mahomes eventually, guys like that who can elevate other players. I don't think Dak Prescott is a guy who elevates other players. He's been around a good team, his whole career. If Dak Prescott wasn't drafted by the Cowboys and given the opportunity he was given, would we even know who Dak Prescott is right now? You know what I mean? So, it's very interesting, so.
Yeah, like you said, I think it was just sending a message to Dak. Like, I think the Cowboys are like, look, we're not going to give you the money you want, so either get out now or settle for the money we're going to give you.
Yeah. And definitely this upcoming season, given there is a season, is definitely going to be that prove, show us what you can do here, like you all have covered offensive, updates with the receiving core. You still got Zeke back there, and you got Mike McCarthy as a new head coach. He's a proven coach at Green Bay. Some Green Bay fans may disagree. I understand, but he's a proven coach. He's won a Super Bowl, so I don't see why not. Why they wouldn't be set up for some sort of offensive success this season.
For sure. So a little bit to do with the NFL. Schedule was released yesterday. Tyler had the idea of us kind of highlighting some games that we wanted to see, and I'll start with the first one I want to see. And that's opening night, man. Chiefs and Texans. I think that's going to be a good game because first off, you got the defending champions, first game back. Not really many changes to the offense. Then you got the new-look Texans without DeAndre Hopkins and with David Johnson in that mix somewhere. And, if the Texans win this game against the defending champions, Bill O'Brien will somehow keep surviving if he can make this season worth something. And that's going to be the biggest opening night, question right there is if the Texans are still going to be at that level they've been at without the best receiver in the league. So I'm excited to see that one for sure.
Yeah, I think with the Texans, though, it's going to be tough. Looking at their first 3 games, they obviously open with the Chiefs, I believe, at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Then they have the Steelers, and then they have the Ravens at Baltimore.
That's not a fun schedule.
I think that's going to be a tough 3 weeks to get your foothold in.
Yeah.
See, I am not the biggest fan of Bill O'Brien. I think if the Texans are smart, and this is like another 8-8 year, barely making the playoff year for them, and they don't succeed, I at one point you got to just get rid of the guy and send him home. And the scary thing is now, he has so much because he's sort of at a GM level, and he just has control over that. So I think definitely there should be starting to be some more blame on his part.
Yeah, I agree. Bill O'Brien is lucky, though, because he's got a guy on his team named Deshaun Watson who absolutely backpacks that team. Carries that. He's going to carry that team to 7, 8, 9 wins, regardless of the dysfunction of the organization, which is definitely happening there. But, moving on to another game that I'm really looking forward to is week 3, battle of the last 2 seasons MVPs. Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson at Baltimore. I'm sure that's got to be the fan favorite of the year. Just looking at those 2 guys, the way they change the game, the 2 most dynamic players in the league right now, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that game?
Yeah, definitely think that's an exciting game. A lot of those matchups with these dynamic quarterbacks, any game with Russell Wilson, you got Deshaun versus Patrick Mahomes, Lamar versus Mahomes, Lamar versus Deshaun. Those are going to be exhilarating games as dynamic as those quarterbacks are. It's going to be fun to watch, definitely. But I know a lot of people were pointing out the game between Burrow and Tua.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were hyping that up, and I think it's a little too soon.
A little too soon to even know if Tua's going to start.
Yeah, I think it's a little too soon.
I think Tua takes over pretty early on in the year. I think Fitzpatrick is a nice veteran to have on your team, but this is Tua's team now. He's obviously, I think, better than Fitzpatrick, and any coach knows that, you have to play the guy that's going to give your team the best chance to succeed. So, I'm looking forward to that game. I don't think it's as hyped up as the other ones, but anytime you can see the 2 first quarterbacks in the draft face off against each other, I think that's pretty exciting.
For sure. Going back to the game you said, Tyler, I think that Chiefs and Ravens game is going to be pretty similar to the game we saw a couple years ago between the Chiefs and Rams.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Both teams scored like 50-plus. It was insane. Definitely going to be entertaining. But me as a Colts fan, I looked over the Colts schedule. I love our schedule, first and foremost.
It is the easiest schedule in the league.
Yes, it is. That's why I love it. But week 8 at home, we play Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm looking forward to watching that game.
Hey, the Packers this year too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I've highlighted, we get to see Tom Brady versus Drew Brees twice a year now. So that's going to be exciting for us fans as well. So you guys see a common theme here with these games that people are looking forward to. They either have Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in them.
Yep.
Like I said
Sure.
before, I think these two guys are going to run the league,
Yeah.
for the next decade or so. But, yeah, definitely some games to look forward to there.
Absolutely. I think we all are just excited for some football at this point. I know I am. Actually, Luke earlier mentioned that he thinks the NFL season might not have any fans, which kind of sucks, but I think it's realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think it's realistic, at any level, because I was just talking with a coach the other day, for my level of D3 football, and they're pretty confident that we'll be able to have a season, but I did hear there's some talks that, even at that level, there might not be any fans, which, end of the day, personally, I don't, I think it's worth risking fans just to get back out there and actually see some games happen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a good point. And that brings up another question, though. Like, our team's going to be able to start selling, like, season tickets and, tickets on Ticketmaster, StubHub, whatever, because, if people were to start buying tickets and, let's say, the NFL comes out and says no fans in the stands, that's got to be a complete headache to try to refund all these people, with their money. So I wonder what they're going to do, with that as well.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they are selling them.
Are
Because
they?
I saw, for whatever reason, I follow the Cowboys Instagram account, and I saw that, single games tickets on sale now. They posted that a day ago. So, yeah.
Interesting. So I wonder if the NFL is planning on going with fans. I mean, I know, and it would be fine in my opinion, if, no fans were in the stands for preseason. But I'm hoping all this is resolved by, September when the season kicks off. So
I
Once we
definitely,
find a vaccine, it'll be fine, I think.
yeah.
yeah, for sure. I definitely could see maybe like if it gets to a point where these organizations feel comfortable, at least selling tickets to a limited capacity. You don't have to fill out a stadium, which I know would be a bummer for especially these new stadiums in Las Vegas and California that are trying to get some ticket revenue in to pay. I mean, because the one in California in LA is about a $7 billion stadium. So I definitely know the Rams want to definitely get some revenue in.
Yeah.
I think, it would be worth playing around with limited capacity, but it just depends where we're at, as we get into the fall, late summer and fall. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Moving over to the NBA, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, got hacked yesterday on all of his forms of social media, and a lot of this is speculation. None of it's really, confirmed facts. But the rumors of him possibly going to the Warriors when his contract's up next year is kind of ramped up a little bit. And the more that I think about it, the more I think it could possibly happen. What do you guys think?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's really going to happen. But because I don't see Giannis leaving Milwaukee. They've been super loyal to him. They've paid him. They're going to probably keep paying him. But if it happens, man, the Warriors are going to be insane. Sure, they had a bad year this year, but they're getting ready to get a number one pick. They'll have Steph and Clay back. And if they add Giannis to that equation, they'll be insane again.
I dislike him, but Draymond too.
And Draymond, yep.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you, Matt. I can't really see him leaving Milwaukee. I feel like he's kind of a loyal guy. And obviously the Bucks are going to try everything in their, power to keep him, a Milwaukee Buck for life. They're going to offer him a ransom, to keep him around. But, when you're going to be the top free agent like that in years, I think it's going to be hard for him not to listen to other offers from other teams. And, I think if the Warriors thing comes up, I think that could be really appealing, just because, he could go win. And I was looking forward to this year because I thought this year was going to be, a good indication of what was going to happen. If the Bucks couldn't make the finals this year with Chris Middleton and the other guys that he has around him, that might propel him to, start thinking about playing elsewhere. So, that's definitely interesting. And only time will tell. I hope he stays with the Bucks, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Evan, anything on that?
Yeah, well, first of all, the social media situation is very unfortunate. I think if anybody tries to say, "Oh, that was really him," you're just stupid.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Delete your Twitter and your Instagram. We don't like you here. But yeah, just because he's just from what it appears, he's a good guy, so he wouldn't do that. But yeah, I would kind of like him personally. Just as a fan of the NBA, just to stay where he's at. I hope they can get him in a happy arrangement where he'll stay. I just think he's a big, powerful player, and it'll just keep the league balanced a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's kind of scary to think about it, though, because the Warriors, if you think about how that offense would run, Giannis can't really shoot that well. You're going to have to double him when he goes to the lane. And look who you have to pass to. Two of arguably the best shooters in the entire NBA history, Steph and Clay. And that's not even including whoever they draft first next year, if they get the first pick. If they don't get the first pick, it'll be 2, 3, or 4. Draymond, Eric Pascal, dude, that team would probably win championships.
It's very appealing, but like I said, I just don't see him leaving because right now, as it stands, he has Chris Middleton and all these mid-tier guys, Bledsoe, but they're winning. They're the best team in the NBA right now with those guys.
Here's my thing, though. I agree with that. And Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe have been great regular season players. But they haven't helped Giannis in the playoffs. Like I said, I thought this season was going to be a good indication.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bucks couldn't get out of the East again this year, with the Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, the guys he has around him, if you're Giannis, you have to start thinking about, what can I do to win? I have to win. This is my legacy. And if Steph and Clay are over there saying, "Hey, come to Golden State," to me that would be hard to pass up.
For sure,
it really would.
For sure. Well, I think that will lead us perfectly into our big thing for today other than that interview. So I'm going to explain this a little bit. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be drafting the best and the worst number 1 overall picks in the NBA. Draft season's coming up, so might as well get ready early. So this is what we're going to be doing. Me and Tyler are going to be going head-to-head, and we're going to be drafting the worst number 1 overall picks in NBA history. So we're going to be drafting a starting 5, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. And you guys get to decide who drafted the worst team. Just let us know. And the exact opposite is going to be happening with Evan and Matt. They're going to be going head-to-head, and they're going to be drafting the best team full of number 1 overall picks. And then and you guys can decide who drafted the best team of theirs. And we're basically just going off of, personally, I'm just going based off of stats, longevity in the NBA, awards and stuff like that. It's going to be different for best and worst, but it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to do it.
Another thing that I factored in for the worst players is guys that they were taken ahead of. So
absolutely.
They were taken ahead of, 3 Hall of Famers or, something like that. They're a little bit higher up on my list because, that team missed out on those guys.
And we'll have on our Instagram story and probably have Twitter, we'll have polls where you guys can vote. We'll do it on Facebook. You can comment under this YouTube video. You can vote in however way you want.
For sure. So we already kind of predetermined who's going to go first. I told Tyler he can go first, so take it away.
All right, and by the way, this is based on 1970s to now. We didn't want to go any farther into that, but from 1970 to 2019, I think the biggest draft bust was Anthony Bennett. So
darn it.
The dude came in the league. He was the number 1 pick by the Cavs in 2013. He was in the league for 4 years. I don't know what he's doing now. He only played a total of 151 games and averaged a whopping 4 points a game in those games. Didn't contribute at all. So to me, I think this is one of, if not the biggest bust in NBA history, especially as a number 1 pick.
Definitely somebody I was thinking about taking if I had the first pick. But I got someone I think that might have been a little bit of a bigger bust. I don't know. I think it's about the same. LaRue Martin. He was the number 1 pick in 1972. He averaged 5 points and 4 rebounds in his 4-year career coming out of Loyola Marymount. So right there shows you, it didn't really seem like it was a good fit for him to be the number 1 pick. And I did a little bit of research, and it was kind of a surprise back then that he was even the number 1 pick. He had no business being there, and he just didn't have the talent to play at the NBA level. And averaging 5 points and 4 rebounds as the number 1 pick, a little bit better stats than Anthony Bennett. But, that would be my center for my pick.
All right. I'm also going to take a center here, and that is Greg Oden. I think, he had a 4-year career in the NBA. He played a total of 105 games, and obviously durability was a huge issue. The dude couldn't stay healthy. He might have been a decent player if he could have stayed healthy. Only averaged 8 points a game in those games. But the thing that propelled him up my list was that, some notable players that he was taken ahead of, Kevin Durant, Al Horford, Mike Conley, and Marc Gasol, So all those guys have had far more successful and long careers than Greg Oden. So
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a power forward because, like we said earlier, it seems like every draft bust is a big man. I don't know why. It just happens that way. We're going to have to go with the infamous Kwame Brown. Averaged 6 points and 5 rebounds in his career, never a factor on any team. I think one of the best memes out right now is, Kobe and Kwame combined for 83 points in one game. I mean, that's crazy. But, he was kind of just passed around the NBA his entire career, thrown into deals as just that other guy, And, if you're a number 1 pick averaging 6 points and 5 rebounds and you're technically still old enough or young enough, to probably still be in the league maybe in your later years right now. I think he's widely considered one of the largest busts in the history of the NBA, at least top 5. So, that'll be my power forward.
all right. Moving on, I'm going to add another forward to my team, and that is Michael Olowokandi.
The Candy Man.
All over candy.
This is a guy had a 9-year career. Played a total of 500 games, averaged 8 points a game. Was the first pick in the 1998 NBA draft. But as I look at some of the notable guys that he was taken ahead of, this is a rough list for him. He was taken ahead of Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, and Paul Pierce. So, to me, that's huge. I'm sure the Clippers are really shaking their head on that one, but
I'll go with the forward as well. Looks like we're both going in the same pattern, but I'm going to go with Joe Smith. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know much about Joe Smith before I researched him. Averaged 10 and 6 his entire career. Lifetime role player. He's been on I would say anywhere from 8 to 11 teams. I didn't get the exact number. But, just one of those guys where he's really exactly like Kwame Brown and never lived up to his potential, never was considered a good pick. And I think that you got to throw him in there when you're thinking of forwards. I almost went with somebody else, but I think this guy's a little worse. So Joe Smith's going to be my small forward.
All right, I'm going to add a guy who's a little more recent in some of our memories. The first pick in the 2017 NBA draft, guard Markelle Fultz. This is a guy who the team that drafted him number 1 overall moved off of him after 2 years. Had a decent year with the Magic last year as kind of a role player, but when you have the expectations as a number 1 pick, you're not supposed to be a role player. Fultz has been in the league 3 years. He's only played a total of 64 games in his 3-year career so far. Durability has been a huge issue. He has averaged 12 points a game in those 64 games, but I look at some of the guys he was taken ahead of as well. He was taken ahead of obviously Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and Bam Adebayo. All these guys are rising stars in the NBA, and Markelle Fultz is a role player on the Orlando Magic. So, I'm not right. I mean, actually, I think it is okay to write him off as a bust. So.
It sucks because, if I was going to be stupid, I could put Andrea Bargnani at shooting guard, do something stupid like that, but I can't. I got to build a team, and the only pick I can really do at shooting guard, I'm going to take my point guard first. John Lucas. I'm putting John Lucas at point guard. He had a decent career. He played as a starting point guard in the NBA Finals, so you can't really fault him for, the situation he was in, but he just never lived up to being a number one pick. Kind of reminds me of Markelle Fultz, seeing how his career will turn out. It might end up the same way, but John Lucas didn't average any all-star numbers, never made an all-star game, just one of those guys that is a number one pick that wasn't necessarily a bust, but wasn't necessarily a star. And he's right there in the middle, and I think going back to 1970, definitely the worst point guard. So I needed to secure that before risking my shooting guard pick.
All right. Well, to be honest with you, I don't have any more guards on my list here. So I'm going to go with a bigger lineup, I guess. And I'm going to take a guy who was like a stretch 3-4 in the league, and that is Andrea Bargnani. First pick in 2006. Had a 10-year career, played 550 games, averaged 14 points a game, which isn't terrible. But obviously, when you're in the league 10 years and you're only averaging 50 games a year, you're not very durable. And also he was taking over LaMarcus Aldridge, Kyle Lowry, Rajon Rondo, JJ Redick, Paul Millsap, and Rudy Gay, all who have had far better careers than he has. So, I'm going to go with Andrea Bargnani.
All right. I guess, I'm kind of torn. I almost took Andrew Wiggins at shooting guard because, there's not much else to do. He never made an all-star game. He's only has 12 career double-doubles, but he's still a pure scorer. And, that would help my team win if we were playing each other. So I'm going to take Doug Collins at shooting guard. Really good player when he was healthy, but that's the thing. He was never healthy. He averaged 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists in his career, but he only played 4 full seasons. He was in the league for 8 years, but he only played 4 full seasons. So I think if you're getting all things considered, that would be the definition of kind of a bust, but he still averaged 18 points, so you can't really say that he was a bad player. He wasn't a bad player at all, a better coach. But that's really my only option at shooting guard. He was more of a point guard, but you know what? I guess we'll have a small lineup in the backcourt, but wow, that would be a terrible game to watch. So
yeah. My big lineup versus your smaller lineup. I think we should go ahead and recap our teams, for the viewers.
Sure.
My team, I have Anthony Bennett, Greg Oden, Michael Olowokandi, Candy, whatever, the Candy Man, whatever you want to call him, Markelle Fultz, and Andrea Bargnani.
That definitely is a big lineup. Yeah, so I got John Lucas at point guard, Doug Collins at shooting guard, Joe Smith at small forward, Kwame Brown at power forward, and I got LaRue Martin at center. So, like Matt said, we're going to have everything post on our social medias. We are interested to see what you think. So let's get to the best number one picks of all time. I'm excited to see this.
All right. So Evan went ahead and gave me the first pick.
You're welcome.
And I think to everybody this pick should be obvious. At my small forward position, I will be taking LeBron James, the first overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft. Now, this guy, obviously, we think is the GOAT or one of the GOATs. If we could go GOAT 1A and 1B, we would do that with him and MJ. But, I mean, his greatness just speaks for itself.
I hate to do it to you, but I'm going to have to take with my pick in this draft, Zion Williamson. I got to.
I like it.
I got to.
Okay.
Matt's scared right now. That's all I got to say. That's my
I'm not
explanation.
scared.
You're scared.
I'm not scared.
Scared.
All right. So with the third overall pick in the best number 1 overall picks of all time, Matty D. Beats, will be taking Magic Johnson, point guard, number 1 overall pick in the 1979 draft. Arguably, if not the best point guard of all time.
Agreed.
Okay. Not a bad. It doesn't concern me too much, because with my pick, I am going with the freakishly awesome brow, Anthony Davis. He's going to dominate. And my team is already looking like it's going to get a couple rings. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
All right. With my third pick, I will be taking Shaquille O'Neal, number 1 overall pick in the 1992 draft. In my opinion, second best center of all time, behind Hakeem Olajuwon. But that's my pick.
Interesting. Very interesting, Matthew. Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, so looking over my options here, kind of put this off like a fantasy draft. I don't know what's so funny. I mean, this is.
I just want to stop you right there, Matt. You do realize Hakeem was the number 1 pick too, right?
I do.
You didn't want to pick him?
Nope.
Okay.
That's why I'm gonna pick him.
I'm
Hakeem Olajuwon is going to Team
That's fine.
Okay.
All right. With my number 4 pick at the power forward position, we're going big, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Big.
oh,
Yao Ming,
Woo!
first overall pick in the 2002 draft.
Twin Towers up there, man.
7'6". I'm getting every rebound. No, you're not scoring in the paint. Just to let you know, Evan. You're not scoring in the paint. All right.
it's all right, Matt, because we're going to score on the outside with an absolute stud of Kyrie Irving.
Okay. Gotcha.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. Well, you
Yeah.
know what?
Tell
I'll
me-
match your scoring. I'll match your scoring right here. Okay.
Yeah, give me up right
At
now.
the shooting guard position,
Yeah, give it to
I
me.
will be taking Allen Iverson,
Ooh.
first overall pick in the 1996 draft.
And Evan was the
AI,
only one
baby.
to take AI as in the top 10 list too. Whenever we did that
Yep.
2 weeks ago.
All right, Evan, let's hear it.
I'm not gonna lie. That one did hurt a little bit. You hit me. It hurt down deep.
Okay.
But I think to recover from this situation and to really concrete, my path to greatness, I'm gonna have to finish off. Now, can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Can I ask a question before I make my pick, my final pick, I believe, correct?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are we talking like prime right here? Like this is their prime?
Whole career considered.
Whole career considered.
Yeah.
So if I draft them right now, that's early in their career, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take him. I'm going to go with Derrick Rose.
I like it.
I like that.
Finish
Like
off
it.
with Derrick Rose.
Okay. All right.
Man, I like
Well,
it.
Just to recap, the winning team, Team Matty D Beats, at point guard, Magic Johnson. At shooting guard, Allen Iverson. At small forward, LeBron James. At power forward, we went big, Yao Ming. And at center, Shaquille O'Neal. Diesel, baby.
Diesel up.
You can win all the games you want, Matt. But when it comes time for the playoff, that's when champions take over. And my team is built to win championships. Okay?
Okay.
We got Zion Williamson. By the way, I can't memorize positions, so we're just going to go with it. Zion Williamson, Kyrie Irving, Derrick Rose, Anthony Davis, and Akeem the Dream Olajuwon.
Okay.
So Matt, do you have a plan with your lineup? Why you didn't take Hakeem, you took Shaq?
Yeah, please tell
I
us.
do. I believe that Shaq was the most dominant center on both sides of the ball. Hakeem, I believe, was one of the most like the best offensive center, but not the best defensive. I believe Shaq is better than him defensively.
I like it. So once again, we'll have polls out for both matchups. I'm excited to see what everyone says. It's definitely going to be – I think it's going to be close for both matchups. You know, it's kind of weird to pick which team you think is going to lose for me and Tyler's matchup. But you know what? It's going to be exciting to see what happens. So we'll move right into to our closing thoughts for today. I got a couple. One, I was talking about Drake's album last week. Nav's album's great. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to it. It is great. Two, stay up late and watch the Korean baseball organization. I'd give you my best bet for them, but I'm going to be honest, I can't keep track when they're on TV. So if you're that interested, let me know. Really fun. You know, bat flips almost every time they hit a home run. Even if they hit a flyout, they still bat flip. And you got exciting cheerleaders. You don't ever see cheerleaders watching baseball here.
Cheerleaders?
They have cheerleaders in Korea. Yeah.
All right.
Exciting baseball. You might see a familiar face there if you're a diehard baseball fan. And if you're really bored, put some money on it. You know, and third one, as always, what am I talking about? The stay-at-home order. That's what I was thinking. It's starting to get a little loosened up here in Indiana. If you're anywhere else, it might be different. But stay safe because there's a lot of idiots out there. But it is going to be nice to get outside and do some stuff that we haven't been able to do. I'm excited to coach baseball again and, you know, just do normal stuff. So, but do it safely.
Yeah. I just have a couple things. First, Grant, I agree. The Nav album is great.
Fire.
Second, if you want something to watch on TV, the NBA 2K League is now on ESPN. So if you're just sitting around bored and you're like, hey, I want to watch something, the best esport out there right now, the NBA 2K League. And yeah, like Grant said, if your stay-at-home order is getting lifted, just be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe. All right.
Yeah. First of all, make sure you vote for my team because obviously it was the worst team ever,
Vote for my team too.
ever assembled. No, but thanks everyone for watching, listening. Stay safe and check in next week. I'm sure we're gonna have a great episode next week as well. So
Yeah, just want to thank everybody listening out there. Thanks to Luke Jackson for joining us, taking the time out of his, quarantine life to join us here on the show. Definitely stay out there, stay healthy, stay safe. Try to get outside if you can, depending on the weather. Me and Cliff are hanging out, going to chill by the fire here all night. I do want to pose a question to you four and kind of get the listeners interested. I figure a question, kind of like a hypothetical question we can use for next week. I came up with before the show. All right. So the question is, if you guys could be part of any sport to any capacity, what position would you be and why?
Ooh.
Keep that in mind for next week. Listeners, you can
Okay.
do it yourself. Maybe even send in your submissions to our social media accounts. But I think that's a question we should talk about next week. I've heard it.
For sure.
Podcast,
I
so
agree.
we'll do it on ours.
And you had a good idea, too, that start bench cut.
Absolutely.
If you're a diehard NBA fan, you know who Norris Cole is. He's a really random player. But I've watched a lot of his live streams lately. Don't ask me why. But he's live on Instagram all the time. And him and this other dude do them all the time. And there's a lot of them that I saw that were really interesting. And, I'm going to pose one real quick. Don't have to answer it right now. But this is a really good one. Reggie Miller, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen. Start bench cut.
Ooh.
Save it.
We'll save it for next
Ooh.
week.
Oh, we're saving that? Okay.
Or we can do it now. We can do it now.
save it.
Save
All
it.
right. We'll save it. And we're going to try to get a good guest on for
Nation,
next
nation,
week.
baby.
I'll give you a hint because I think I know who it's going to be. State champion, currently playing in the Big East. Some call him the Red Rocket. He has 3 names. So
Those are your hints. Put in the comments who you think it is.
those are your hints.
March Madness.
March Madness. But, yeah, thanks to Luke Jackson for being on. He was definitely really cool to talk to. And other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed.
I got one more thing. All of our socials are going to be in the description. Our Instagram, Twitter. Obviously, you're watching this on YouTube, or you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, whatever. But all of our socials are going to be on there for this page, and all of our personal socials will also be in there. So,
and we just started a Patreon.
We did also start a Patreon. So, hey, if you want to donate to us, that'd be awesome. But obviously, you're not compelled to. So,
if no one else has anything else, I hope everyone has a great night. I think this will be the same night as The Last Dance. Let us know what you think of the episodes, and we'll see you later.